Hello and welcome to God and Country. Hope you guys are doing well. I'm looking forward to Thanksgiving, as I'm sure many of you are. Some of you will watch this show before Thanksgiving. You will watch it on the day of Thanksgiving, and some of you will even watch it after Thanksgiving. But I am looking forward to Thanksgiving. I'm looking forward to spending time with my family. I love my family, and I'm thankful for my family. I'm thankful for the family that God has given me, my beautiful wife, my 2 boys, and my 3 girls, and I'm so thankful for them. And I mean, the list can go on and on of things that we're thankful for, right? I mean, I'm thankful for my family. I'm thankful for my parents. I'm thankful for my mother and father-in-law. I'm thankful for my brothers and sisters. I'm thankful for my brother-in-laws, and my sister-in-laws. I'm thankful for my church. Thankful for my friends. Thankful for my country. I'm thankful that Donald Trump, I love my hat, that Donald Trump has been reelected as the 47th president. I mean, there's lots of things that I'm thankful for. And so I want to talk about tonight, I want to talk about something that many people have already been asking, because next year you have the municipality elections. You know, a lot of people running for mayor, council, alderman. You know, lot of elections next year. I mean, every city, every mayor, every alderman, every councilman up for re-election next year. Some of these mayors and some of these aldermen and councilmen, let's just be honest, they need to be replaced. Now, I'm not one who generally sugarcoats anything. I generally shoot very straight, and I have friends that tell me I probably don't need to shoot as straight as I do sometimes, just be as blunt, I guess you could say, as I am sometimes. But the reality of it is, some of these mayors, some of these councilmen, they need to be replaced. Just a fact. They're not good for the city. They're not good for their area. I mean, it's all about themselves, and it's about their friends, and it's not about the city, and they need to be replaced. And so I'm so thankful that there are people already gearing up to run, you know, for some of these seats. And then 2026, you have Senate will be up for election again, U.S., and then U.S. Congress. And then 2027, it's going to be a fun year. Every single state senator, 52, are up for re-election. All of your House representatives up for re-election in Mississippi. All of your 8 statewide elected officials are up for re-election. I mean, the list goes on and on and on of people that are up for re-election. The sheriff, they're all up for re-election, all 82. Supervisors, all 410. They're all up for re-election. People are asking, who am I going to support for governor? Who am I going to support for Secretary of State? Who am I going to support for lieutenant governor? Who am I going to support for attorney general? Now, so there are people that are already talking about and saying, listen, I'm running for Secretary of State. I'm running for governor. I'm running for lieutenant governor. There are only a few people that I will 100% support when they throw their ring in the hat. There are some people that I don't care. I hate to say this, but I'm not going to support. There are certain people that I'm not going to support, right? I mean, we all have those people that we're not going to support. Look, I'm not going to support someone that is for abortion. It's just not happening. I mean, thankfully, I live in Mississippi, and so I don't have to worry about not having someone on the ticket that is not pro-life. I mean, there will be plenty of people on the ticket that are pro-life. That is just one of the very few things that I look at whenever I'm going to support a candidate, is what is their stance whenever it comes to the issue of life and the issue of the unborn. If they're not pro-life, I'm not supporting them. Listen, you say, what if they're Republican? Now, I don't care if they're Republican, Independent, Democrat, Libertarian, what their name is. That is irrelevant to me when it comes to this one issue. Somebody says, well, you're just a one-issue voter. I'm not a one-issue voter, but we're going to start with that issue. And if that issue, if you tell me you're not pro-life, well, then why even go to number 2, right? Why go to number 3? We don't even have to talk about the Constitution. We don't even have to talk about the Second Amendment. We don't have to talk about religious liberty. We don't even have to talk about taxes. We don't have to talk about government in whole, as far as whether or not we want to expand or eliminate some parts and pieces of government. We don't have to go there. We just start with, are you pro-life? If the answer to that question is no, well, then the conversation's over. We'll move on to candidate B. We're just going to move on. And so right off the bat, right, there are certain candidates, there are certain people that we are not going to support. And the issue is because of the issue of life. And so I want to mention just a few things that I think is important whenever you're looking at, and listen, this is my opinion, right? I'm going to give you my opinion. I'm going to tell you what I think, and you'll kind of know what I'm looking for in candidates. And because, I mean, there is a lot of people that are saying they're going to run for governor. I've heard no less, at least 10 names, 10 different people that are going to be running for governor. And I've heard multiple names for lieutenant governor. I've heard several names for secretary of state. I've heard a few names for attorney general. The attorney general list grows as long as this one individual doesn't run for governor. There's one individual, he's a businessman in Mississippi. If he runs for governor, I believe it will eliminate a lot of that field. I think there's 12 people that I've heard that they're going to run for governor. If this one gentleman gets in the race, it will eliminate 10 of them. And then the attorney general, that field is going to be huge, right? And then the lieutenant governor race will be a lot more. And then even the secretary of state, depending on what happens with that governor race. If this one individual gets in that governor race, who's a strong businessman, and I mean, he's I think the richest man in Mississippi. His name is Tommy Duff. He's the richest man in Mississippi. He has thousands of employees. Very business minded, and I think that's the type of person that I would like to see in the governor's mansion. I mean, somebody that is a strong businessman. Now, I've not had too many conversations. I've not been around him enough to have a conversation about a lot of the other issues, but I know that you don't become a multi-billionaire because you're not smart in business. So unless, you have a parent that's multi-billionaires and they die and leave you billions of dollars. But that's not the case with Mr. Tommy Duff. But what I'm saying is, if he gets in a race, it will eliminate a lot of people. A lot of people won't run if he gets in. But if he doesn't get in the race, there's going to be a lot of people in that governor race. And then if there's a lot of people in the governor race, there won't be as many people in the Secretary of State race, in the Attorney General race, and in the Lieutenant Governor race. And so we're watching that race very closely, because whatever this one gentleman decides to do, it's going to affect a lot of other races, and it's going to affect a lot of people. A lot of people might even decide to just stay where they're at if this gentleman gets in the race, because they know he's smart, they know he's got a lot of business credibility, and they know he can put a lot of money into his own campaign. And so they're not going to want to go against him, and I don't blame them. They're going to wait another 4 years, or they're going to wait another 8 years. And so my point is, when you're looking at the governor race, and you're looking at the lieutenant governor race, and you're looking at the Secretary of State race, there are things that I'm looking for personally. Now, you might watch this and you might say, well, I'm not looking for those things. But me personally, this is not me looking through the lens of a Republican. This is me looking through Dan's lens. So the first thing that I look for is, I like to have a good Christian, right? I mean, I'm a Christian. I'm a Baptist. I'm a pastor of a Baptist church. So I would love to have a good Christian that's in office. That's just me personally. And so I think I can name you many of our elected officials, that are, I would consider a good Christian. Senator Kathy Chisholm, love her to death. She's probably one of my favorites. Just a sweet, dear lady. She is a Christian, a strong Christian. She's not the only one in Jackson. There are many in Jackson that I believe are good, strong Christians. I think Senator Jeff Tate's a good Christian. I can name many more in Jackson that are strong Christians. And so one of the first things that I look for whenever I'm looking at a candidate is, are they a good, strong Christian? That's what I look at. The second thing that I'm going to look at, now, I'm not even looked at Republican, right? I'm not even looked at Democrat, right? I'm not even looked at Independent, Libertarian. First thing I look at is, are they a good Christian? The second thing that I'm going to look for is whether or not they're a conservative. Listen, there are people in Jackson who are Christian, but they're not conservative. Now, I would rather have a good Christian that is a good conservative. That's what I would love to have. Sometimes you can't get both of those. Sometimes you get someone who's not a Christian, but they are a good conservative. Now, you can have a good conservative who's not a Christian. Listen, there are some people who are not Christian who are pro-life. There are some people who are not Christian who are pro-religious liberty. There are some people who are not Christian who are for prayer in the schools and for reading your Bible. There are some people who are not Christian who are for the Constitution. There are some people who are not Christian who are for reducing the size of government. And so, but I want to have a Christian, right? I mean, I'm looking for that. I want a good Christian who's a good conservative, but sometimes you don't get both. Sometimes you don't get both. Now, I want both. I want both. I want a good Christian who's a good conservative. And so I'm going to look at those things. And a good conservative is going to be reducing government. He's going to be pro-life. He's going to be pro-Constitution. He's going to be pro-Second Amendment. He's going to be pro-religious liberty. He's going to be when it comes to this vaccine, he's going to be vaccine choice. Whether or not you want to take the vaccine. Listen, if you want to take the vaccine, you take the vaccine. If I don't want to take the vaccine, I shouldn't have to take the vaccine. I should be able to put in my children, as far as this vaccine is concerned, whatever it is that I want to put in them. And so this I'm not anti-vaccine. I am pro-choice when it comes to vaccines. But listen, some of you are going to watch, you're going to say, well, you're pro-choice when it comes to vaccines. Then how come you aren't pro-choice when it comes to a woman's body? And I am pro-choice whenever it comes to the vaccines, whether or not you should or should not. But I'm not pro taking someone's life, right? And so that baby on the inside of a mother's womb, that is that baby's body. And so that is its own body, right? That's its own. It has its own heartbeat, its own brainwaves, its own fingerprints. I mean, that is its own body. It has its own liver, its own kidneys. That baby is its own body. And so I'm very pro-life. And so when I'm looking at these elected officials, are they good Christian? They're good conservative. They're pro-life, pro-Second Amendment, pro-Constitution, pro-reducing government. Are they pro these things that I'm for? That is what I'm looking for. Are they pro-biblical principles? There's a lot of biblical principles in the Bible that we need. And so those are things that I look for whenever it comes to elected officials. I look at another thing. Are they electable? Are they electable? Listen, some people just aren't very electable. And so I look at that. Are they electable? And so you look at someone's past. You say, well, their past, you shouldn't hold that against them. Listen, there are just some people that I don't want to be an elected official. Just things that they have done, things that they're doing, things that they're involved in. I just don't want them, and I don't want them as my elected official. I don't want a drunk for a governor. You like it, lump it, do whatever you want with it. I don't want a drunk for a governor. I don't want a drunk for a lieutenant governor. I don't want someone that's beating his wife. I don't want them to be an elected official. I don't want someone that's not taking care of their family to be an elected official. And so some of these guys want to run for office, and they can't stay out of the bar room, and they can't stay from partying, and they're up chasing every skirt in Jackson or in Washington, D.C. I don't want them as an elected official. I don't want that. I don't want that for a governor. I don't want that for a lieutenant governor. I don't want that for a secretary of state. So those are things that I'm looking for whenever it comes to going to vote for someone or going to help someone get elected. Those are the things that I'm looking for in a person. I'm telling you something else and listen, this is going to get me in trouble around the state, and that's fine. I'm going to say it, and some of you will or will not like it, but I'm just going to say it anyway. I like to have somebody from the coast. That's just me. Now, I know somebody in DeSoto County, you might be like, well, I want somebody from DeSoto County, and that's fine. I mean, I get it. I mean, if I was from DeSoto County, I'd probably want somebody, too, from DeSoto County. So I want somebody from Choctaw County. Well, if I lived in Choctaw County, I'd probably want somebody, too, from Choctaw County. You might say, well, I want somebody from Tunica. Well, if I lived in Tunica, I'd probably want somebody from Tunica, too. But I live in Gulfport. I live in Harrison County. I'd love to have somebody from the coast run for Secretary of State. I like to have somebody from the coast run for lieutenant governor. I like to have somebody from the coast run for governor. Now, people say, well, it'll never happen, but you'll never get those things. But that's just, I'm saying what I want. Now, that's one of the last things that I look for, is where this person is from. Are they from the coast or are they not from the coast? But if there's somebody from the coast and then there's somebody from DeSoto County, and the person from DeSoto County is a good Christian, he's a good conservative, he's pro-life, he's pro-Second Amendment, he's pro-Constitution, he's all the things, he's pro-reducing government, and then you have somebody from the coast that is not any of those things, of course, I'm going to go with the guy from DeSoto County, right? And so that's not one of the main things, but that is something that I look for. We all have things that we look for whenever it comes to running for office. We all do. And that's understandable. You might want somebody from a certain industry. If you're a farmer, you might want somebody that's from the farming industry. If you're from the oil industry, you might want someone from the oil industry. And so we all look at things differently. I just want you to begin to think about next year and these races in our cities, and then 2026, these races for Congress, and then 2027, these races for our state. You need to begin to think about now. Make a list of what you're looking for in a candidate. And then you pick a candidate, you meet with them, you talk with them, You align yourself with them, and then you help them get elected. Now, you notice I didn't say anything about personality? I didn't say one thing about personality because I don't care about their personality. I just, that's not a big deal to me, their personality. Now, whenever it comes to trying to get certain people elected, I didn't say anything about how they look. I didn't say anything about their looks because that doesn't really matter to me. What matters to me is all the other things. All the other things. Now, whenever I said a while ago electability, I'm talking about the things like they can't stay out of the bar room. That person's not electable. They have a past. I mean, a lot of bad things. And I'm not talking about 20, 40 years ago. I'm talking about within the last 6 months, within the last year, last session. They're in Jackson and they're partying up and chasing skirts. That's what I'm talking about, right? And so those type of people are not electable. They are not electable. They're going to get crucified, and they're going to get their families embarrassed, and they're going to say, well, you're playing dirty. Well, no, they're just putting out what kind of person is running for office. That's not dirty. That's just letting people know this is the type of person that's running for office. And so that's why you need to clean up your act. If you're going to run for office, you shouldn't be out, at the bar room getting drunk and all those type of things. You ought to be taking care of yourself and get in church and walk with the Lord and do all of these things. If you're going to run for office in Mississippi. Now, if you're in California, they'll probably fly. I mean, you just saw Kamala Harris just the other day. I mean, one of the interviews she just gave. I mean, great day in the morning. It looked like she'd been drinking all night, poor lady. I mean, look at Nancy Pelosi. I mean, this isn't California. This is Louisiana, Mississippi. And so we just look for things different in the South. And so, but anyway, I just want you to begin to think about these races next year, 2026 and 2027. The type of people you want running your city, running your state, running your county. It's important. It's important. I just want you to be involved. I want you to be engaged. I want you to know what's happening. Get to know these elected officials. Get to know the people that are running for office. Listen, I pastor in Louisiana. I live in Mississippi. I know a lot of elected officials in Mississippi. I know a lot of elected officials in Louisiana. I have good relationships with most. There's a few, I'm just going to be honest with you. There's a few that I don't have a great relationship with because of past campaigns and things of that nature. And I want a good relationship with them. I mean, it's not that I don't want a good relationship. And I'm trying to do some things to mend some bridges. I'm not going to change my views on what I think about policy and things of that nature. Those are not grounded in necessarily a relationship as much as they're grounded in who I am when it comes to certain policy issues. But I do want a good relationship with the elected officials that I can build a good relationship with. And I would say 99% of the elected officials that I know I have a good relationship with here in Mississippi and in Louisiana. In both places, we've got a good relationship, and I appreciate that. And that doesn't necessarily speak to me. That speaks to our elected officials. We have some good elected officials here that are doing a good job, that are working hard, for their city. They're working hard for their area. They're working hard for their district. We just had an election yesterday, a runoff. Depending on when you watch this, we had a runoff on Tuesday, this past Tuesday. It was Amy St. Pay and another lady running for office. I voted for Amy St. Pay. And I'm so happy because in the county that I live in, the lady that's a judge, she was running against Amy St. Pay. She got like 57% of the vote in the county that I live in. This is the same county she lives in. But in my box, she only got like right at 51%. I was happy about that, for this area. But I went to work for the candidate that I necessarily thought was going to be the best candidate. And so you have to pick your candidate. Research them, read about them, go to their website, study them, and begin to know all that you can about this person. And then if you can align yourself with them, go to work to help them get elected. There's going to be next year, there's going to be a lot of mayor races, a lot of alderman races. There's going to be maybe 3 or 4 people running in each seat. Go to work for your candidate. Get involved. We need every Christian to be involved. We need everybody. Every one of you to be engaged and be involved and know what's happening in your city. I want to mention one quick thing before we jump off. I'm kicking off a brand new website, and it should be kicked off here soon. I'm working on it still. It's MississippiFirstNews.com. And I'm excited about it. It's going to have nothing but Mississippi and Louisiana news on it, and it's going to have people that are running for office. It's going to have all their information on there, the people that I'm aligning with, because I'm going to put them on that website. So people can begin to go to that website, and they can read about some of these good people that are running for office. And I'll put more out about that here soon, and I'll say more about that later. But ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. God bless you. I hope you have a great Thanksgiving. Hope things go well for you. Hope you have a great day. God bless you. May God continue to bless the great United States of America.